afternoon, everyone. My name is Pat O'Melia. I'm with the Hudson Media Group, and for the last 17 years, I have held this ceremony here on 9/11. The fountain that you see here, I dedicated back in 2002. It has the names of the 37 residents of Jersey City that lost their lives on 9/11. 36 of them were in the towers. One was on Flight 93, the flight that fought back, it's called. It's been my honor to organize this for the last 17 years. And it's been a great privilege, kind of a nightmarish privilege, that I have to think back on those events of 9/11 that occurred 18 years ago today. Here in New York City, we had a bird's eye view of what was happening. The Pentagon, and again on Flight 93. Jersey City played a huge role in 9/11, in the rescuing and the assistance and triage, whatever is possible. Many Jersey City residents that had boats, they were ferrying people back and forth. Our then mayor, Glenn D. Cunningham, he was like Mr. Logistics. He was handling everything that was going on. Glenn was down on the waterfront for, I think, for weeks. Jersey City really showed its national pride, its concern, its sympathy on that day. And if you're from Jersey City, you can be proud of it. 18 years, 2,977 innocent souls died that day in the towers, the Pentagon, and on Flight 93. Over 6,000 people were injured. 9/11 is still claiming the lives today of the first responders and police officers and fire, contractors that worked on the pile. You remember the pile? It's amazing how we can let things slip from our memory. You remember bringing the bodies out of the ramp? Well, there was a lot of bad air there that these guys and women, they were breathing, and now they've come down with various cancers and heart conditions. So always take a moment to remember them. When everybody was running out, those guys were running in. For that matter, on the fountain, there's a gentleman, Nathan Webb. When we dedicated the fountain and engraved all the names, nobody informed us at that time that Nathan Webb was a Port Authority police officer. And he was one of the guys that ran in. So the following year, in 2003, I had the engraver, John Burns from Burns Brothers Monuments and Memorials, come back. And if you look at Nathan Webb's engraving on the fountain, you'll see the patch, the Port Authority 37, of the 37 Port Authority officers that lost their lives today. And that was free-handed by a guy that worked with Johnny Burns, Boris. You know, it looks like a machine did that, but that was not a machine. 18 years later, from 9/11, our country's never been the same. Even though the USA has reduced Al-Qaeda and ISIS and Taliban to shells of their former selves, they're still dangerous. For that matter, President Trump recently was willing to sit down with Taliban leaders in an effort to broker a peace, until they recently murdered again the Taliban. When it comes to Al-Qaeda and ISIS and the Taliban, if you're a Marvel fan, I'm going to paraphrase Falcon from The Winter Soldier. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and Taliban, I don't think those are the kind we talk to. Those are the kind we stop. And yes, we still have to stop them. 18 years later, we still have soldiers and military overseas fighting for our safety and our freedoms. Keep those guys in mind, and girls. We learn to live with a cloud of terrorism over our heads. You see it every day at the airport with the TSA. They have to screen you, they take your shoes off, make sure you're not a terrorist. We're on high alert at parades and at holidays. You see dump trucks and garbage trucks loaded to the max, blocking intersections to prevent a terrorist attack. We're on high alert in schools and in businesses. We've learned to live with that. Amazing we have. There's actually a generation now that knows no other way to live. They don't know about the freedoms when we used to be able to walk through a building or an airport or in a theater without any worry. 18-year-old kids don't know what it was like. We even learned to live with what's called domestic terrorism. Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and the Taliban, those radical organizations hate the U.S. They hate our way of life. They hate everything our flag stands for. They hate the greatest country in the world. Don't confuse acts of violence from mentally or adversely challenged American-born individuals with terrorism. But unfortunately, we have to be on high alert for those individuals too, who seek out soft targets. And they learn that from the radicals, the ISIS and the Taliban and Al-Qaeda, who would blow up malls and buses and trains, bars, lounges. Sadly, American-born learn the soft targets also. But don't confuse these mentally challenged individuals who are American-born with the radical terrorists. Those organizations hate you, they hate me, and they hate our flag. Before I introduce Colin to do a reading of the names, I want you to remember, as I said earlier, those military individuals who are protecting us here and abroad. Remember our police and fire. You have some cadets, is that what we call these guys? Sean Connors, good to see you, behind us, who are willing to protect your freedoms. They are our city and our county's first line of defense. Keep them in your prayers so they can have a long career without incident. Take a moment to remember these victims of 9/11 and our 37 neighbors who lost their lives. Take a chance, just walk around the fountain, maybe just read the names. And of course, when you see something, say something. I'm going to bring Colin Egan up. He is the director of the landmark Lowe's Theater, directly across the street from us. And he is going to, for the 17th year, attempt to read the names of the 37 innocent souls from Jersey City who lost their lives on 9/11. Colin?
Albert Einstein, when we were back in high school, we'd read of what he taught us, taught the world. He taught that time is relative. And he was right, but even in ways that go beyond the scientific truth that he defined. In real time, 18 years ago, is time enough to have grown up and gotten a driver's license. It's time enough to have bought a brand new car off the lot, taken great care of it, but inexorably watched the miles tick up on the odometer and the long list of things that don't quite work right on the car build up longer and longer. It's time enough for someone to have gone through their entire school years, from kindergarten through college and on to graduate school. And it's time enough for a young child who lost a mother or father 18 Septembers ago to have grown up their whole life and not known that parent. But 18 years in the mind can seem, in one way, just short, very short. To me, it seems like just the day before yesterday, I'd look in that direction. From almost any vantage in Jersey City, you could find a place to see the Twin Towers. And it seems like just yesterday to me that I saw them burning and then saw the enormous plume of smoke and dust where they used to be. But 18 years can also seem like an eternity. I imagine for everyone who lost a loved one or a friend in the World Trade Center, it seems that long, like forever, since they've seen that person. Now, there were 37 people from Jersey City and nearly 3,000 all told from our country who didn't get the chance to live through these 18 years, and that's why we come back here year after year to keep their memory alive and remind those who are still here who love them, and remind all of us that they died as martyrs. They didn't necessarily ask to be, but they died for something, and what they died for was the ideal of America, a free place, and a place without fear, Never forget that, no matter how much terrorists and dictators and even some politicians for their own purposes want us to forget that. America is the land of the free and the brave, and those 37 people from Jersey City and everyone who died in the Trade Center died for that, and we owe it to them to keep that true. Now, if you'll join me in remembering the 37 men and women from Jersey City who lost their lives 18 years ago. Nancy C. Farley, Anne Marie Ferreira, Boyd A. Gatton, Rosa J. Gonzalez, John Cohane, Bhawani Devi Kemraj, Sele Ku, Andre Court, Leon Labor, Werang Lin, Alan Linton, Jerome R. Lohez, Manuel L. Lopez, Joseph Lavero, Waleska Martinez Rivera, Francis J. Nazario, Angel Perez Jr., Ada Rosario, a friend of mine, John S. Schlissel, Thomas F. Swift, Zanita Zoy, Edward R. Vanacore, Nathaniel Webb, John C. Willett, Su Cheong Wong, Matthew D. Yarnell, Alok Agarwal, Ivan K.F. Barbosa, Andrea Della Sherry Ann Bordeaux, Edwin Calderon, Shwana Shalazini, John R. Cruz, Jamal L. DeSantis, Christopher Dinkoff, Samantha Egan, and Barbara G. Etzold. May they rest in peace and their memories live with us forever.
Thank you. Yes, I'm back. Before I end, I'm going to talk about the future of the fountain and the Circle of Honor. But right now, we're going to have some comments from probably the best sheriff's department in the state of New Jersey. Mike Mastronardi and OSHA may have an issue with that, but I think the Hudson County Sheriff's Department here in Hudson County is certainly the best. We're going to have two representatives, I believe, from the Sheriff's Department to make some remarks. Let's have Sheriff Chilton. Sheriff?
Thank you, Pat. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for taking out the time to come to this wonderful historic location, the fountain that we have here in Jersey City, remembering those that we lost that were residents of Jersey City. On behalf of Sheriff Frank Shalleri, myself, Chief Oliver King, Sean Connors, as well as our cadets and our sergeants are here to show their respect once again for those loved ones that were lost. We lost mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, uncles, aunts, cousins, grandparents, and some children. These are people, although they are gone, they are not forgotten and will never be forgotten. As long as there is the date of September 11th, 2001, it will remain in all of our hearts and our souls and our minds. As these people woke up on a day like today, intended on going into work to do the things that they normally do, and unfortunately, people who were deceitful of the United States of America and did not appreciate what we have here for all of our people. They decided that they wanted to come and bring harm and hurt and pain to many of our people. Even though they did the destruction that they did, it has not stopped the United States of America. We shall continue even stronger than ever. So I say to you again, thank you very, very much for standing out here and being with us today. And as long as we are here, these fountains are here. We have a monument down at the waterfront as well as out at Liberty State Park. Please, if you find the time, please go and observe these monuments that we have put in Jersey City to remember the many people that we lost. As far as Pat mentioning Nathaniel Webb, as it turns out, he's my first cousin, and he was one of the first, the actual first, that left from the Holland Tunnel to go into the World Trade Center once they heard what was going on. So I say to my cousin, he's still here. As long as I have breath in my body, he's still here, as well as the other 3,000 plus people that we lost. May God bless them, and may everyone have a good day. Thank you. At this time, we would hear a few words from our Chief, Oliver King. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm following the undersheriff for what she said. You know, we lost 37 people from Hudson County, and very sad about that. Very good. Thank you.
Our next speaker is a former Jersey City cop, former Jersey City detective, and he is presently the head of community relations for the Sheriff's Department here in Hudson County, my buddy, Sean Connors.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And Pat, thank you for this. And Colin, thank you for always being here for the residents of Jersey City and Journal Square and for what you do. Looking back at history, when we look at things, you know, growing up, you always looked at our history books. You know, you saw what the effects of World War I was, World War II, Korea, and the Vietnam era. And then when you live through reality of something of a tragedy like 9/11, you turn around and you realize the importance of life and the sacrifices that were made on those particular days in our emergency services community and the community in a whole. We lost many people that just wanted to go to work that day and preserve life, just wanted to be a part of what, you know, we look to live for, to put our feet on these soils and stuff. I want to thank everyone else that's here. I also want to thank our training staff, the training unit staff that we have. They're going to be getting ready for these young officers to hit the academy and to hit the streets. They're the ones that are responsible for doing that as well. We also have the Jersey City FOP president here, Sergeant Robert Vogt. But there are two other people here that touched many lives on 9/11, and that's my boss, Tony Diudo, and his wife, Elba Diudo. I know both from the Jersey City Police Department and my, you know, getting to know them over the years and stuff. But on that particular day, Tony Diudo, I think he might have been a deputy chief or inspector. That's what leadership is about. He ran the operation out of the waterfront to secure people coming back in off of the ferries, the waterfront, and so on. and Elba Diudo was very instrumental as well. There's even an historic picture in the Jersey Journal that shows her caring for a child that was coming off one of those ferries, and to know that I have a second chance to work with those fine people is something that's great to me. I want to thank everyone once again. Hopefully we never relive something like this, and may God bless America. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Ashley, give a round of applause for these recruits here, the trainees. They're going to be protecting you pretty soon. Great. All right, let's talk a little bit about the 9/11 fountain. Like I said earlier, I dedicated that back in 2002. This whole area, you may not believe this, we put in $16 million into this area. The Gloria Esposito Plaza. A lot of you probably don't know Gloria. She's got a monument over here on the side, right over by Christopher Columbus. Take a moment, read, because she was one of the civic leaders. There are a lot of them here in Jersey City. You'll see them in the fountain. Gloria is certainly at the top of the list of civic leaders here in Jersey City. Back in the mid-90s, then Mayor Brett Schindler, he corralled $16 million in T-grant money from the feds and the state, and he built this whole plaza. And it was something to behold at its time. But then it fell into various states of disrepair into what it is today. Back in 2001, after the events of 9/11, I knew we had to memorialize what happened to our residents and what happened to the nation. And I remembered this, and at this time it was dormant. Again, not pumping water, in a state of disrepair. And probably one of the greatest mayors we've ever had in the history of Jersey City, Glenn D. Cunningham, gave me the okay to rededicate that fountain. I raised the funds to engrave the names of the 37 residents of Jersey City, and Glenn rebuilt the plumbing. And on 9/11 2002, the fountain was dedicated, and she was pumping water. For that matter, we had a whole musical section here from the high schools. And Glenn, with mischief in his eyes, said, turn on the water. To this day, I firmly believe Glenn knew that water was going to wipe out all those singers and electronics. And it did. But Glenn took care of all that. And it was really a special day. This is the first 9/11 memorial in the city of Jersey City. It was contracted first, it was dedicated, and now we have the monument on Grand Street and also Empty Sky. But here I am, 17 years later, after dedicating that fountain, and I'm back to where I was 17 years ago. The fountain has fallen into a tremendous state of disrepair. It is not pumping water. I had a meeting with our now mayor, Stephen Fulop, who is a protege, by the way, of Glenn D. Cunningham. And Mayor Fulop gave me the okay to go and repair the fountain. So what we're going to do with the fountain, John Burns from Burns Brothers Monuments and Memorials here in Jersey City on Tunley Avenue, who originally engraved that, is going to repoint it. We're going to polish it. We're going to redo the Circle of Honor. After the ceremony, take a moment, say a prayer for those 37 names on the fountain. Those people died on 9/11. The Circle of Honor that encircles the fountain are all people that made a huge difference in Jersey City. I mean, true civic leaders, from Ted Conrad to Willie Wolf. I believe there are 6 cops in the fountain that gave their lives in the line of duty here. Take a moment and read these names. Some of them are performers. You got Nathan Lane, Jersey City guy. You know him from the Producers. Cool in the Gang. These are all people who really made Jersey City what it is today. And we got so many others to honor. You know, one of the next names going in there is a guy named Flip Wilson. I don't know if you know Flip. Jersey City guy. He was a big name comedian back in the 70s. Jersey City kid. We have many more people we need to honor. So we're going to redo the circle. We're going to take out those paving stones. We're going to make new ones out of granite. We're going to put more information on these. The original group of the 25 names, they just had names. You know, it was in the beginning. We didn't know about putting dates and information on until each year you could see the change in the dedications. Glenn D. Cunningham You know, you see a name, we need to put that he was the mayor of Jersey City. He was a Jersey City cop. He was a federal marshal. I'm doing a documentary on Glenn D. Cunningham. The more I learn about Glenn, the more I'm impressed by him, and I consider him my friend. I thought I knew the guy. I only knew a little bit about Glenn D. And there's more information to each one of these people. You know, Leon Yost, he was the Jersey City historian. He knew everything there is. Franny Thompson. If you got to know Franny, she was a force in nature in civics. You know, Owen Grundy. You know, all these guys made Jersey City what it is. So I'm going to pull out the circle. We're going to replace it all with new granite. We're going to re-engrave all the granite. More information on all the inductees. Then we're going to put the bowler rods around the fountain to protect it from ourselves. All the damage you see on that circle, and really in the fountain, we caused ourselves. The circle from plow trucks and farmers market trucks rolling up here and driving over the circle, that's what caused the damage. So this year, in 2019 and 2020, I'm going to be looking for money. So if you see me, I would run, because I'm going to be trying to reach into your pocket so we can repoint this and rededicate that. And next year, in 2020, we'll put another group of inductees in there, and again, we'll remember the tragic events of 9/11. So like I said, before I hand it over to the bagpipes, like I said, keep in mind, say a prayer for our military, our PD, our sheriff, our firefighters, our first responders. They're there protecting us, defending us, and serving us. I'm Pat O'Melia. You be good, you be safe. I'll talk to you later. Good night.